This is an HR program on demand, a living seed capsule of work life and workplace coming live from a rooftop in Stockholm, Sweden. It's me, Ann-Marie Andrich, and
me, Katarina Berg.
A vodcast, if you like, on HR, straight across the counter. Sponsored by HR The Real Deal, HR by HR for HR. Hello, Katarina.
Hey, Ann-Marie.
Is this your comeback?
Yeah, you can from now on call me the comeback kid.
Yeah, I will. And now you also come back in black. I don't think I've ever seen you in the VOD in black. You always have these colorful shirts and
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm dressing my age now.
Oh, you
For one episode.
For one episode.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We love to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. So my dear, we're back to business. Autumn is back, clearly. There are so many things cooking in the HR world, business world currently.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
So I think what's on my mind is what's on everybody's mind right now. So we went into, I think, the summer of seeing a couple of things on the horizon, like the inflation around the world. So I don't think no matter where you are in the world and you work with HR and you're like really connected with the business, that you can't have the macroeconomics on your mind right now, because it affects everything that we do. And I wouldn't say more so on the people side, but for sure so on the people side. And we have seen that also back in the days, right? And if you've been around for a while, you know there will be these kind of changes, these kind of turns. And I think for most people in HR, what we saw last recession and global recession was that there are two things that usually companies do directly when recession hits, or maybe also do the prudent thing before. So you either pump the brakes 100%, or you actually go into kind of the activities that you do directly after pumping the brakes. And I think we have seen that around the world, a lot of employees losing their jobs. So layoffs. We see a lot of, hey, we're not going to do any more recruiting. We're not going to hire, maybe backfill a couple of business critical roles. But otherwise, it's not necessarily accelerating right now into 2023. And you know as well as I know that it affects so many things. So I think that is what's on my mind.
Great, exactly. And that slowing down, how has that impacted Spotify? Anything that you can share?
Yeah, and I think that has been quite open too. We are in a very lucky position, but you do have a network, right? And you have one in Sweden and you have one global too. So for us, it actually was a couple of things that we wanted to look into. And since the business and the machine is humming and everything is going well, but this was our biggest year when it comes to intake of new band members. So we hired and we will close the year on more than 4,000 new bandmates.
Say that again? How many?
4,000 new bandmates.
4,000?
Yes.
Okay, how many in total are you today? Or when you close the year then?
So approximately 10,000.
You're not a small company anymore.
We are not a small company anymore. So for us it's been accelerating. But you look at the signs, you look what's happening around the world, you have to monitor closely. I think you also have to stay humble, and what has not hit you yet might hit you, right? So you have to look at all these signs. But I think the thing and the exercise we did, and I think most companies did, was, okay, so do we have to keep this pace of bringing people in? You have one and maybe more obviously obligations and responsibilities, but you want to look everybody in the company in their eyes and kind of, as far as you can, promise that they will keep their jobs. So adding people that we today don't have responsibilities to in that kind of hyper growth or fast pace, it doesn't make sense. So for us, it was not even pumping the brakes. It was a bit slow down and see, okay, so in what pockets, for what areas, for what missions and what departments can we actually maybe take away the foot on the accelerator. So just being prudent, and I think that is one of the things that I think we are good at doing. and testing, okay, so are there other things that we can look into? And I think for an HR person or for any company, if you don't have to do layoffs, good for you. And if you don't have to do furloughing, also very good for you. But if you look into what you can do with the typical tools that you have, okay, so what other tools do we have to get more efficient or do the things that we need to do either in a high speed or to deliver and not knock down things or take them off, in our case from the bets board, that we think is really important to set you up for success 2023, 2024, 2025. So we kept recruiting, but maybe a bit slower pace. But as you heard, still 4,000 new people coming in.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you just continue to look into all these financial institutes. What are they saying? You look at their reports coming in on inflation. We are today in 45 different countries. We oversee 183 markets. So it differs, right? But this is what we see kind of globally.
Right.
And then you put inflation on top of that, and most countries actually have kind of top, which is not necessarily a good thing, right? Inflation for the last maybe 20, 30 years. So I think 2023 will be a defining year for a lot of businesses, but we are in good shape, we are in a good place, but it's one of those things you don't want to take your eyes from. But it also gives you a chance to do the things that I think you should do and that you should guard and that HR should really lean into. It's okay, so how do you actually work? The ways you are working, the processes you have, what tools are you using, and what does leadership do and don't do? And then the thing that people find to be a bit scary to talk about, the kind of the B minus or the C players, meaning performance-wise. And we also know that most people can actually do their job. It's a lot about, if I want to do the job, if I'm done doing my job, and what happens with the people that I'm just going to stay put and also cling on to my job because there might not even be a big or great kind of workforce kind of market out there,
Right.
With the times that is coming ahead. So you just want to have engaged people, but you don't want to worry them about what's happening, but you also want to talk to grown-ups the way that grown-ups understand. They read the newspapers, they can see, they have friends working in other industries and in other companies. So trying to be open, transparent, have conversations, share articles, and I think what it always comes down to, what is the best thing to do for your organization? So you can't really do blue copies, you can't really go, so they doing this, or if they doing that, do we have to do that? Different settings, different business ideas, different countries, different regions, and I think different opportunities, possibilities, challenges, and also issues or worries. So that's what on my mind.
That's a lot, and I think you covered quite a bit there. Excellent. And on that topic, because obviously these times create uncertainty and people will get worried and so forth. And you mentioned that when you were sharing just now that people do get worried and you get questions. How did you, and you should talk to people like grown-ups, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anything that you can share on how did you actually address this to the Spotifyers, so to calm them down on what's going on in the market and what impact that has on your company?
To be fair too, I think the backdrop is this: when your company or your business is running really well, I think people read and they are smart and they put one on one together. But the best backup or the best information is actually keep telling people what we are doing well, and how that hits the market. So obviously, we had Investor Day earlier this year. Before we usually talk to the market, we also talk to our people.
Right.
We've been open and transparent from the get-go. That starts from the top. I have had very transparent and very kind of communicative managers through my career, but I think Daniel actually is the most open and transparent person I ever met. So I think everybody knows and can see all the dashboards, and I think that calms people down.
Right.
One, you talk, you're not quiet, and two, everybody can see how you're performing as a company. You also talk about the things that you try that does not work. So I think that kind of setting is really, really important. The other thing is when we did that kind of taking the foot from the accelerator,
Right.
telling people why, how we came to that kind of conclusion, what we're doing and where we're doing it. And again, what we are doing actually is not necessarily hurting anybody internally. And when you bring 4,000 people plus into, a lot of hiring managers obviously they did other things too, but were in interviews. And then you onboard, right? So what it actually also gives everybody a chance is to execute on things and focus on and deliver and do the work that they actually love to do. Not saying that they hate hiring, but we all know if you sit in interviews all the time, you kind of lose perspective of, okay, I'm supposed to actually think and ship and tweak and work with other types of challenges too. So I think that gave a lot of energy too. And then I think it's about that communication that we always talk about.
Yes.
That is so hard, but trying to also be very open about what we don't know and the things that we're trying to figuring out. So all these things comes together, right? And I think it's about not having secrets or not going like, okay, so there's a few people maybe on the top, if you talk about that typical pyramid. We know, we are a bit smarter, we take all the decisions, and we will let you know when we think you need to know, and maybe that is never. I think we are the opposite, right? Try to have that conversation, try to check in a lot, use the different channels we have for communication. And also daring to say sometimes we don't know, because who would say that, you know, even 6 months before the wall in Berlin came down, or 2 days before, you didn't know, right? So it acting uber smart is usually not good, but being very vulnerable, I think being very, as I said, you know, communicative about what's happening.
Clear and open and transparent.
Yeah, because again, everybody's connected. It's a very
true.
open world. You know people, and you can read in social media as in kind of more old-fashioned media. So I don't think it's not a surprise what's happening. So then you have to put that in perspective, and it's always about perspective, right? So I think that is what you do to calm everybody down. And what happens then is then people can focus.
Exactly.
And then you're doing hopefully even better, right?
Right. Yeah, and you follow up and you keep that sort of regular communication
Yes.
in different channels
Yes.
and forums.
Yes.
Lovely. And speak to people like grown-ups.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean that's the one-liner.
You have to do that, but you also have to treat people as grown-ups.
Yes.
And you know what? When people are scared, they are not always grown-ups.
No,
but you still have to go back to, okay, so you're communicating not to one person, or maybe not even to the 2% that goes like, but what about this? What about that? You have to talk to them too. But 98%, they already get it. They just want to know what are we doing and how are we doing. Which is very important to give it as it is. Keep it real.
Keep it real, exactly. Lovely. So before we wrap up, I'd like just to touch on the talent piece as well, because as we said, you slow down a bit, but still 4,000 new Spotifyers coming in by the end of this year. So I don't know if that's slowing down, but, but according to your plan, right? According to your plan, and also the recession and the movements in the market. How has this impacted the talent inflow? Do you see that it's harder for you to attract talent, or is it? I know you're laughing. I know you have like more than 150,000 open applications per month, but I have to ask the question.
No, it's not 150,000. It's only 109,000
Okay,
applications
only
a month.
109.
Yeah.
Okay, I exaggerated a bit.
Yes,
but close.
Yeah, it's a big kind of, people are curious.
Yeah.
I think the brand is well known.
Yes.
I think our employee brand is as well known. And for sure,
she said humbly.
Well, it's true, right?
It's very true.
But the thing is, it's not true everywhere,
Right.
Right, and we're actually trying to hire people from everywhere,
Exactly.
and they can work anywhere, right? So we have to. That is like getting or keeping kind of trying to get to a place where people know who you are, what you are doing, what your direction is, and what they can expect. And an employer promise, you know, the EVP, which is, but employee promise is the same thing as the customer promise, right? Can't let customers down more than once. And you can maybe, because you are kind of in the same team, in the same ship, you can maybe let your employees down once if they know that your brain and your heart, which is important, were in the right place. Because if you move in a very fast-paced way, sometimes some things go wrong, but then you owe up to it.
Yeah.
So no, we don't see a shortening, or we don't see like a traction going down. But again, the important thing is, it's not just employer brand, right? With the big recession, with inflation, with a company that is doing well and still hiring, obviously, we will do well in that setting. If other companies are letting people go,
Right.
not doing as well, and you're not feeling secure when it comes to employment. So hey, that is helping us. So that is not necessarily on us, except for we're doing a couple of things all right. The kids are all right.
The kids are all
Yes.
right. The Spotify is all right.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yes, we missed you. And I like you in black as well.
Okay, thank you.
Did you see the sun?
I see the sun. I saw that the sun came down on you, and then I tried to move because we know, all of us, where the sun needs to shine.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been away, but you still know the 3 things to wrap this up. Do you remember?
I never knew, so I will try to do it, but it is right. Hashtag.
Yes.
Stay active,
No,
stay
stay
safe, and stay something. What is it?
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Stay strong.
Yeah.
Stay active.
It's interesting that it's my 3 things,
Yes.
and I can't remember them for my life. Okay, stay safe, stay strong, stay active.
I medalje.
I should stop coming up with slogans that I can't remember. What's wrong with me? I love it. I think it's good. Are you putting water on yourself?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm doing some ironing on the shirt.
Maybe I need to pack. So I do get the water
Look,
thingy.
kolla här.
Yeah, but that will not show.
Jo,
No, it will not.
I'm ironing now.
It's dirty
The
here,
shirt.
maybe.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. This is black.
Yeah.
And I can, this is how I do it.
Oh my god.
Vad har du för ämnen?
Skit
Vad
du i det.
har du
Skit i
för
det.
ämnen?
Sluta!
Ja, men du är dammig.
Jo, men...
Det är för att jag vill att du ska
Du
se.
är också dammig. Det
Jo,
blir
men damma
nytt hela
bort
tiden.
mig.
Ja, jo, men
Damma
det kommer
bort.
nytt damm.
Ja,
Ah, let's go.
ja okej. Those eyes.